Well, hey everybody. I didn't shave. I haven't showered. I've been up reading. Found a new book. I like reading. 72% of the worldwide market is on Android. That's the smartphone operating system of choice. Now, that doesn't mean Apple's hurting, but that does mean that Google is controlling a huge percentage of the market, which is kind of interesting. Now, there's a problem that Google's had for a long time, and that is fragmentation. Fragmentation of the market. Because if you've got an Apple device and Apple releases like iOS 6 or whatever, as long as you have a decently new device, we're not like talking like iPhone 2 or whatever, like iPhone 4 or whatever, you're going to get the newest operating system as soon as it comes out. You've got it. But if you've got, an Android device and you're with T-Mobile, and T-Mobile, they don't want to do anything with because they want you to buy a new device to get Android 4, well, you're not going to be able to get it, and it's ridiculous. So Google is trying to take some steps toward fixing this problem, and this is a very, very small step, but they've changed the terms of service, and now if you're doing anything with Android, you have to use their SDK. You can't make your own SDK. You can't make changes to the SDK. You got to use theirs, and that's going to help unify the platform a little bit. The next step, what would be the next step, Wendell?
Well, okay, so I see this change as really making it so that the Android platform is more unified across a whole universe of devices. Not just because we've got these unruly carriers that won't play by the rules, but also we've got other device manufacturers that are using Android as a convenient operating system. And this
right,
is
and they've been using everything from tablets to, small computers.
And this is a baby step toward getting everybody to come together and to try to prevent it from being 500 different versions of Android. Sometimes your app will work, sometimes it won't.
What they really need to do is they need to hire a bunch of thugs and send them to like Sprint and Verizon and AT&T and T-Mobile and all these companies, and they need to grab them by the throat and be like, stop loading our Android with bloatware and your own programs, and stop making people buy new phones. When we give you, they always give the carriers the new version of Android for each device. They bend over backwards, like you were saying earlier. They bend over backwards to help these carriers. Whenever they release Android 4, they make Android 4 for all the different devices that they know of and send it out to the carriers and say, here, give this to your customers. And the carriers are like, I don't want to.
That requires changing some support script that some lackey drone in Estonia has to deal with.
Well, not only that, they want to be able to market the brand new phones as like, hey, if you get this brand new like Samsung thing, it's the only phone we have right now with Android 4. So it's even more incentive to buy the new phones. They just want to sell stuff. It's all it is. It's not good. It's anti-consumer.
Apple refused to give up that control when when the first iPhone came out. Jobs was like, no, we're not having this.
This is a quick article I wanted to mention. Speaking of Google, they've invested another $75 million in a wind farm. So more renewable energy. They've already contributed almost $1 billion to the renewable energy sector. So it's good to see they've got their data center in Texas. Isn't that all solar pretty much? Or
free electricity means free profit.
Yeah, it's just the way to go. And it's kind of cool to see one of the biggest companies in the world putting so much into renewable energy. The speeds are in from Kansas City, Missouri.
Got the Google Fiber.
Yeah, Google Fiber. They installed it. It's 700 megabits per second.
Yeah, the internet can't keep up.
It's a gigabit line, but you know what? The fastest connections to data centers are like a gigabit. So, do we want to give them any ideas?
Yeah, well, no, it's like this. We
don't want to say anything about end users being able to single-handedly DDoS a server.
Yeah, you lease a server, and it's like, hey, data center, what kind of connection can I get? It's like, well, you can get gigabit or 100 meg, and it's like,
yep. So somebody here in Kansas could. Well, do anything. With gigabit up and down,
that's crazy.
If you had a static IP, did you get static IPs? I don't even know.
Well, I think the business customers can
run a server right there. You don't even need a data center anymore.
Nope.
You have total control.
That would be awesome.
We should get a monkey in a room and put a server in there and use that.
Honestly,
we'll have control of it.
That probably actually would be cheaper. As much as if there were a Kansas City Google Fiber data center, we would probably actually save money because we got a lot of servers.
All we need is a monkey and a phone in a room.
Yeah. And
a bunch of servers and an air conditioning unit, and we're good to go. Anyway, the wireless speeds are at around 200 megabits per second. That's faster than any wired connection in the country. Most wired connections in the country. It's about 10 times faster than the average.
That's just absurd.
And if you're on DSL, kill yourself. That's all. All right, moving on here. Obama has signed some national security plan. Did anybody know about this? I saw this on the register.co.uk. I had to get my news from Britain because they won't tell me what's going on in my own damn country.
Yeah. We don't have any idea what this is about either.
So if somebody in Britain knows something that we don't know here in our country, because are we being censored? Is this like becoming China?
This is apparently something about like foreign people doing some bad piece of software on the internet and shutting down the power grid or something.
Oh, it's the whole scare thing. Like, so they're scared that something's going to happen. I mean, I read the article, but I didn't see the exact what it was exactly doing. They're saying it's going to protect us.
If the power grid is plugged into the internet, someone should be fired because they're doing something wrong.
The whole eastern seaboard. Hey, let's just plug it up to this router here.
I'll make the generator spin backwards. Oh wait, it's alternating current. It won't matter. Damn it!
It's all running off a Netgear, a 4-port 10100 hub. It's got to run the whole power grid off this Netgear.
That's probably closer to reality than any of us really want to know.
Oh God, you're probably right. Yes. Moving along. If anybody knows what's going on with that bill, or if anything comes out, just let me know. It's Cybersecurity Act of, yeah, there it is.
So the terrorists could switch our water system from suck to blow.
and then when we flush the toilet, it'd be a bidet. What a day when the bidet goes off. Never mind. That's enough of that. So if you're,
It's like, are they that stupid, or do they think we're that stupid? I don't know which one it is.
There's just so much stupid going around. I think there's enough for everybody.
Oh my God. When I flushed the toilet, it just sprayed me in the face. I don't know what happened.
I thought I was in France. Okay, so Seat ID. They've launched this interesting service to allow you to change your seating arrangements based on the social network that you subscribe to. So if you're a LinkedIn customer, yeah, pretty much customer. I'm a Facebook customer.
I'm a member of the LinkedIn product family.
And I'm a customer of Facebook. So if you got LinkedIn or Facebook, you can look on there and see if your friend or your friend of a friend is sitting anywhere on that plane, because people that travel that much, they're like, hey, Tim from such and such. So, you can sit beside other Facebook people and talk about what happened on Reddit 2 weeks ago, because that's all Facebook really is, right? Old moldy Reddit.
Ba-dum-bum.
And then LinkedIn, you guys can sit together and talk about marketing things, and I don't know, see who can inflate the other person's ego the most. And let's change cards, you guys. Let me give you my business card.
Where do I sign up to sit behind the 4chan guys?
Oh, the 4chan guys, they're in first class.
Ah.
I don't know how they do it, but they're up there in first class, and they get to bring their cat on board. There's like, more wine. What is that, Sutter Home? I don't care, more wine. Microsoft's getting sued over their bastardism. That's the word that I've coined here for what Microsoft has been doing with the ARM-based Surface tablet. So you buy a 32 gigabyte Surface tablet. Only 16 gigabytes of that Surface tablet is usable by you because 16 gigabytes is used for Microsoft stuff. Like the operating system is gargantuan.
Yeah.
And first off, if you're making an operating system, I know it's pretty much just Windows 8 without the ability to run exe files. That's all it is. Like you're just the
Windows
same
8
damn thing.
compiled for the Tegra.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it is. But if you're going to advertise something as being 32 gigabytes and use that as like part of your marketing, like, hey, you get this 32 gigabyte device, why don't you tell people that they can only use 16 gigabytes of it? That's a big deal. That's a big freaking deal. If you get the 64 gigabyte version, you can use like, 45 or something like that? I may be wrong, but someone in the comments will correct me and be the one dislike we get today. It's somewhere around 45. But they're getting sued. A guy, Andrew Sokolovsky. Sokolovsky. That's the lawyer who's representing a guy in California who's suing them. And we'll see what happens about this. I mean...
Well, tablets and other stuff, they use the space for their operating system. It's just usually their operating system's like a couple of gigs, 4 gigs maybe.
Yeah, this one's egregious.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if the guy really does have a case because technically
there really is 32 gigs
there
in
really
there.
physically there is. I mean, you could wipe it and just say like, hey, look, it's 32 gigs. That's what they should do to them. They should like rub magnets on the back and be like, there you go, 32 gigs. That you can use yourself. Oh, that's right. Like this surface is spinning up.
I have a specially engineered Surface with a compact flash mechanical hard drive in it.
With a micro drive.
Yeah.
You can hear it. You turn on. Look at my special Surface. Yeah. Oh, this makes me happy. Samsung is ramping up their flexible AMOLED screen production. Flexible AMOLED screens. These are plastic. They're not glass. And they're flexible. It's like a screen that you can roll up. And like, hey, I'm going to take my monitor with me to the coffee shop.
For you guys to understand how awesome this is, you need to know that the way it works now with an LCD monitor is you have a light source behind the panel that actually draws stuff. and the light passes through the LCD.
Yeah, they're backlit.
Yep.
And some of them are LED backlit. Some of them are side, or like, which is nice. Some of them have backlighting on the side. So if you look really close when you're looking at something completely black, you'll see like a little light around each side. That means it's side lit. And those don't look quite as good. But this one is per pixel. Every pixel has its own luminosity, if you will. So, I mean, the implications of this is that we're going to start seeing screens everywhere. We can have screens that wrap around walls and advertisements that talk to you. And it's
going to be nuts.
I mean, this could be a screen right here. I could be like, this is going to be a screen.
Just need a power source.
Yeah. See this here? Flexible AMOLED. It's exactly the same. I mean, same stuff. Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
It really is.
You can have a roll-up 17-inch monitor, on your watch, and it's just, we just unroll it here.
Maybe push a button and have it like flop out, like.
That'd be awesome.
Yep. Have you seen the time?
Damn it, we missed it by 30 seconds. We'll pretend. It's rant 30.
Everything's just running strange this week. I didn't know what day it was. It's rant 30, and guys, our rights are under fire in this country. Let's talk about this for a minute. Now, if you've got anything on the cloud, they don't even need a warrant. They can just come grab it. Now, the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment protects. It's basically our privacy. It protects, everything in our home. They can't just come in and take a paper off your desk. They have to have a warrant to do that. They can't spy on you. They can't come in and take your personal computer with the files that are contained therein without a warrant. However, the judicial system or the Justice Department has decided that once things leave your computer and they're part of the cloud, it's fair game, and anybody who wants it can have it, and they don't even need a warrant. So we saw this happen this week with the Petraeus case, and we're not going to really get into that too awful much, but what Petraeus was doing was kind of interesting because he was using Gmail, and somebody in the security video pointed out the fact that Gmail, if you send Gmail to Gmail, it's encrypted. Yes, it is. So you can securely send things Gmail to Gmail, but the problem here is if someone on the other end wants to get that information, they don't even need a warrant. All they have to do is just show up and say, hey, the email that we sent, give it to us unencrypted. And Google is compelled legally by the courts to give them that information. So Petraeus, he wasn't even writing emails in Gmail. He was using Gmail, and he was writing a draft. And he would write his draft, and then his girlfriend, mistress, whatever you want to call her, the girl who was writing his biography, she would get on there, read the draft, delete it, and then write something new. They were able to obtain that.
I think that they specifically got a warrant for Petraeus.
Yeah.
But they went on record as saying, well, we didn't need a warrant,
but we
went ahead and got one, which is like, okay, that to me that's saying that there's a lot of other shit that we got that we probably should have had a warrant for, and we didn't have a warrant, so we're just hedging our bets right now.
All right. So what we're doing right now in this rant 30 is just letting you guys know that if you guys are using Gmail or any service that goes to the cloud, that it's completely fair game for anybody who wants to take it right now, and that's what the Justice Department has said in this country.
Another one of the absurd gems there was if you have email that's more than 6 months old, it's considered abandoned. It's like, are you a moron? Really? I mean, are you a moron?
I don't think there's any way to fix this. I mean, it's gonna push a lot of us underground. That's all it's gonna do. It's gonna push the smart people and the people who are up to no good and people who want to like send secret love letters and stuff like that with like Petraeus. It's going to push all that stuff underground, which is not what we want, because it's going to make the criminals really hard to find because they're all going to be so far underground. And then it's going to make the decent people who, are not really criminals, but they maybe once in a while share a song back and forth with their niece who happens to maybe have a copy of the CD. They were just like, hey, let you hear this song. It's going to get them in a lot of trouble because their stuff that they're going to be doing is like right out there in the open, and they're not going to know how to encrypt themselves. It's going to be a mess. Have you guys heard of Room 641A? The alleged 641A. This has been involved in some lawsuits. The EFF sued. Now, AT&T had a building out in San Francisco, 611 Folsom Street, and they let the NSA come in and take a room right in their in their
main data center.
Their main data center, yeah. And they monitored everything that was coming and going. Everything.
All that unencrypted traffic we learned about.
Yep.
Stuff.
It was like an Uber version of Wireshark for everything. I can't even imagine what they would need to actually run that, but they're doing this, and they're doing it inside AT&T's building. They don't need a warrant because it's out there in the cloud. That's the cloud, because everything that's outside of your computer is the cloud. The cloud's an old term that's kind of been used in sort of a marketing way, but the actual essence is anything once it leaves your computer, it's the cloud.
The lawsuit this was in was about the whole warrantless wiretapping thing.
And you know something else that's really interesting about this? A member of the NSA, the former director of the NSA's World Geopolitical and Military Analysts Reporting Group, William Binney, we've talked about him before. He came out and said that he came out and estimated that there's 10 to 20 of these, room 641A type locations, installations in this country. So just want to let you guys know that that's out there, because a lot of you guys don't know that this kind of stuff's going on. It's very important to know that. If there's something you can do, whatever effect it's going to have, I don't know. But you guys can go to vanishingrights.com, and there's a petition on here. That's the thing that we need to do the most, because these things don't just happen magically. There are people in power that shouldn't be in power. There are people in power that don't understand what the hell all this stuff is, and they are making the wrong decisions. And that's the problem, because they are going against the principles of the Founding Fathers. They're going against the principles of the Constitution, and they're going against the actual citizens of the country. I mean, it's like not good for us as people.
Citizens deserve privacy.
Yeah.
You can't have a functional society without some level of privacy for your citizens. And this is much too invasive.
So at least go there and do that. And if you can, call your congressman, congresswoman.
Congress critter.
Call your Congress critter. And then, tell them what for. What for you're calling, that is. All right, so that was Rant 30. I mean, it wasn't like too wild and crazy like usual, but
slightly tinfoil hat. But I mean, it's better to take these kind of things seriously rather than. I mean, it's just we got to take.
It's really not that tinfoil hat, because we're seeing cases all the time. I mean, we can say it's tinfoil hat, but every time something goes wrong, they surface and they've got information. You're like, how the hell did you get that? They're like, well, we didn't even need a warrant. So it's not exactly tinfoil hat. They may call it tinfoil hat because they want you to shut up and go away. You're like, oh, you and your tinfoil hat, and they'll label you that way so you look like a kook and a freaking weirdo, but it's not. So
the technology definitely exists.
Yeah.
And because the technology exists, we must be ever vigilant to make sure it's not used improperly.
So do your part, sign the petition, and call your Congress critter.
Well, let's do that. Here, cut this in and make it right. Okay. But the problem that we have with this is not really what they're doing, because they do need powers to investigate, criminal activity and classified information leaking and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But the problem here is the lack of oversight and the lack of transparency. The EFF has been trying to get information and documentation. What are your procedures? How many times a year do you do this?
It's totally confidential. They don't tell anybody.
Totally stonewalled, because it would freak everybody out. And when you have that lack of transparency in government, it's a very bad situation.
Let's move on to something a little lighter. So in case you guys are interested in Steve Jobs' life, I thought his book was pretty fascinating. I've read a few books about him, and I'm totally doubting this is going to be anywhere near as good as Pirates of Silicon Valley. That's an awesome movie, and I highly recommend that you guys check it out, because it's pretty historically accurate. Would you say so?
Yeah, I think it's
like 90%, 85 to 90% historically accurate.
It glosses over a lot of things, but it's
a movie. It's having fun.
It's a pretty fair movie.
Yeah. Anyway, Steve Jobs, they're making a biopic. Going to focus on 3 different areas: Mac, Next, and iPod. And it's going to take place in 3 scenes that happen like during his keynote speeches, like backstage. So that's all you're getting for that movie. There's another one coming out that's more of an indie film, and that one has been typecast. Poor Ashton Kutcher's always getting typecast as pretentious asses. That was mean. Ashton, I'm sorry.
But he does it so well.
Yeah, he's really, really good at being an ass. And, he kind of looks the part, too.
Yeah,
so I'm more looking forward to the indie film, because I think it might be more of a broad picture of Jobs. We'll see, though. I'm definitely going to take a look at one of these films, because love him or hate him, Jobs really, really changed the way computers work and the way the entire computer industry functions.
His relationship with Bill Gates was always very interesting, because the two of them had their relationship changed computers.
Yeah, if you guys are bored one day and you're sitting there clicking on Reddit, wasting your life, why don't you Google and just read and watch some of the interviews that they did together. They did some interviews together. Just take a look at that. You'll learn a lot about, the entire world of computing that we're in, because those guys really helped shape it. Yeah, along with Linus Torvalds and stuff like that.
It's like we're always talking about all these Apple lawsuits, but there was an Apple lawsuit of the century in the 80s. And
it was very similar.
It was more hilarious than that, because it was, Microsoft came out with the GUI and Apple had their GUI, and Apple lost their mind, and And Microsoft was like, well, we got ours from Xerox. And Xerox was like, well, wait a minute. Apple, where'd you get yours? And Apple was like,
Shut up,
Xerox.
shut up, shut up, shut up.
It was really funny. Because Apple was like, that's mine now. But no.
No. They've been doing this for a long time.
Xerox invented all that.
Yeah. Park, man. We need more organizations like Park, inventing everything from the mouse to, well, they made the mouse better, but
Yeah, they made the mouse better, yeah. They invented laser lithography and Ethernet and all kinds of craziness. I mean, honestly.
so it's the holidays are coming up. I know what you guys want, right? One of these.
Yeah, I would like one of those very badly.
This is from a year ago. Let me show you where this technology's come. So we've got the quadrocopter here. This is actually a really cool video. That's where it came in. Here's
This guy's
FPS
awesome.
Russia. Having a little fun. So this is what we're doing with quadrocopters now. I mean, drone strikes and all that stuff. Yeah.
So he's got a quad rotor with a machine gun.
Yeah, that's nothing wrong with that. I don't see where this could go wrong. I mean, especially if it's just guys like him. I mean, he's just having fun. He's got these dummies that blow up. Yeah, it's great fun. This could never go wrong. I mean,
So
it's not like your local law enforcement agents. Wait a second.
uh-oh. Oh, God. Is that local law enforcement want to buy drones from the military?
It could be a $400 billion market.
Huh.
Local law enforcement agencies are going to be buying drones. Okay, let's just first off, I mean, we've seen like ridiculous reports of, cops shooting innocent people all the time. They just pull out their gun and go crazy. Now imagine if that whole, I'm a cop, I've got a gun and I'm pulling the trigger. Imagine if that is removed, and now you're sitting back at the office with a remote control. It's like, yeehaw! Look at all these people. It's like ants. Get them, get them, get them.
Let's just fly the drone into the bad part of town and just kill it with fire from the sky. Is that where, I mean, honestly.
Investors are going to be like, hey, we want to gentrify that area and put in a mall. Let's just call the cops and see if they can send in a drone and, either scare them away or take them out. We don't care. We'll build right on top of them.
I'm going to need you to tie your shoes. You have 30 seconds to comply.
Do you guys know who Steven Sinowski is? Steven Sinowski is a really cool guy. He's been involved in the Microsoft platform for a long time, and he's the guy who's been doing a lot of the recent keynotes, and
He's got a lot of cool videos on YouTube you could look up.
and he's just so laid back and cool. I actually enjoy his keynotes more than I enjoyed Steve Jobs. I didn't enjoy Steve Jobs because he was always made stuff up, but I thought Steve Sinowski's keynotes were great. I mean, let's take a look at this, and then we'll show Balmer, and you guys can tell me which one you think does the better job.
Yeah, Balmer's the CEO, and so he's still there.
Yeah, and he's still going to be doing keynotes. So here's Steve Sinowski.
And to get the most out of PCs, no matter what size or shape. And so we're going to talk about a lot of new things today about Windows 8. And we really couldn't be more excited to share that with you, to share it with everybody who's listening in on the webcast.
So there's him. He's laid back. He's got his jeans and sneakers on, and he's just, he's easy to watch and easy to listen to. And this is Balmer, because back in the 80s he was really a salesman, and I want to show you how he's matured over the years. So
I think he was Microsoft employee number 12, and he was the first MBA. So he's done a lot for Microsoft, and he's been there forever.
yeah, he's like their business brain back in the day. So, and he was friends with Gates. They did some really funny videos together. But this is him back in the day.
Watch as Windows integrates Lotus 123 with Miami Vice. Now we can take this Ferrari and paste it right into Windows Bright.
Good
now,
Lord.
How much do you think Microsoft Windows is worth? Don't answer.
I have no answer for that.
So he's in charge.
So yeah, he's in charge. But that was back in the 80s. I mean, it's a new era. Things have changed. He's matured a lot, and he's learned so much.
Let's see him like 10 years from now.
Yeah, this is him, in a more recent video. He's just show you how much he's matured and how much better it is.
First developers, 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 developers.
That was about 10 years after the other video.
This is 2006.
Oh. Well, wait. No, it should be. No, it's older than that.
It's older than that. It was uploaded, yeah. See
Yeah.
how much better that was?
That's just way better.
Why is he still there?
Maybe he can throw some chairs at people, too.
Throw chairs at people, screaming so hard that his eye came out? Remember that?
He had to have emergency eye surgery.
He was screaming on stage
Poor
so
guy.
hard that... How is he in charge of a company that big? What the hell?
Because he's been there since day one. Yeah. Well, not day one, but, he's... I feel bad for the guy because, he is the guy. But at the same time, the Windows guy was pretty good at his job, seems like.
Yeah, but he was not a team player.
Yeah,
He probably said something like, "Steve, you're crazy. You should," or not. Yeah, Steve. He probably said, "Steve, you're crazy. Please don't get on stage."
Yeah.
That's probably what happened. He's like, "You're not a team player. Out."
Besides, if the shareholders fire Balmer in 3 to 6 months, then they'll probably rehire him.
That'd be nice.
Although they've got a replacement for the Windows unit already that's not Balmer, so I don't think he would go back to his old position.
Yeah, who knows? All right, moving on here. AMD's having some trouble recently. They've been hemorrhaging money.
Poor guys.
I love AMD. You know, remember there was one point where they where their R&D was just killing it, and they were doing, in my opinion, they were doing better than Intel. They had really awesome stuff coming out, like their memory controller technology that they came out with.
A lot of the stuff that AMD came out with first, Intel later implemented.
Yeah.
Like, and the best example I can think of is Intel absolutely threw them under the bus for an on-chip memory controller, and they're like, "No, that's stupid. We're going to totally have the Northbridge handle
What are
that."
they doing now?
Oh yeah, it's got the on-chip memory controller.
And how freaking fast is it?
How about that? Oh, let's not forget the Itanic.
The Itanium Itanic.
Yeah.
The Itanium came back. I told you about an Itanium, and then the Itanium came back.
Yeah. Yeah, they did release a new version of the Itanium, but that was mainly to make HP happy because they
Because they'd be screaming like, "Where's our Itanium? You signed a contract."
Yeah, they had $1 billion lawsuit. It's like, what, Itanium? You promised.
So they're like, "Fine, someone put a sticker on a box that says Itanium and give it to HP so they shut up."
Yeah, for the 3 Itanium customers worldwide.
And then they got their new roadmap that came out that's like Itanium is now going to be Xeon like next year. You see that? They're like, "Well, we're going to merge the parts now, and Itanium will be Xeon."
I don't know. I did not see that, but
Yeah, that's
really...
like a couple days ago. They just came out with a roadmap. Itanium is up here, and it's like, and then it's going to be like it's going to be Xeon.
I don't see how that's going to work out.
I don't even know. Anyway, back to AMD. We got off on a tangent there.
Sorry.
It was funny.
AMD has got to be awesome. They're the awesome guys. They need to bring the awesome.
Well, they just hired J.P. Morgan and Chase to come in and evaluate things. And, immediately everyone was like, "Oh, my God, they're going to sell." And then AMD quickly came back out and said, "We are not intending to sell. They may be selling off some of their patent portfolio," which is really scary because what's a company without a patent portfolio in this day and age?
Yeah.
I hope they – the other thing is their APU line that they were really doing well with, and I recommend the APUs a lot. They had hundreds of millions of dollars worth of APUs that just sat and were not purchased. So I'm going to be making another build a PC video, I guess, or whatever. And I'm going to be recommending one of their new APUs. The Socket FM2 is great. I think they're really good for like a $300 gaming machine. But we'll just keep an eye on this and see what happens.
AMD needs to pull a rabbit out of their hat, either in low power consumption or something like the Athlon 64.
And they are working on some ARM technology as well, some ARM-based systems as well. So we'll see what goes on there. But take a look at the article. You guys make your own decisions. Let me know what you think. But yeah. More hardware news. Samsung NAND. They've got these new NAND chips. They're being made with a process that's under 20 nanometers.
Wow.
So they're saying it could be anywhere between 10 and 19. Probably not going to be 10. But they're fitting 64 gigabytes on the tiny chip. That's going to be really, really cool. I mean, it's not ridiculously fast. We're talking like 5,000 IOPS for read and 2,000 for write. And that's going to be about 260 megabytes read and 50 megabytes write. But this is not like desktop flash memory. This is like cards and stuff.
There was something else exciting that came out that we don't have that I forgot about that we need to put in, so maybe we should pause it or something. But it's a return to core memory, maybe. Core memory is like magnetic memory, but this company came out with a DDR3 compatible, solid state, non-volatile technology that is kind of. I tried to. I don't really understand it, but it read like it was the way that old core memory works, which is a magnetic storage thing on chip. And so apparently they can store ones and zeros in magnetic fields on these solid state things, and it's almost as fast as RAM, which is orders of magnitude faster than flash.
And it doesn't have the lifespan of flash. Like, it's not going to die, right?
Right, because right now, we've perfected magnetic technology with hard drives where a single bit on a hard drive can be rewritten millions of times and it's fine. Yeah, so that could be the holy grail.
More hardware news. NC State University, some of the engineers there have come up with a way to improve the wireless network throughput by 700%.
I would like a peer-reviewed study.
Now, well, here's the thing. It's sort of misleading. I've been looking at some articles on the internet, and they are misleading because the way this works is they do not affect, like if you have a router in your house, there's nothing you can do to make that router any faster. What this does is, like, if you have a really busy or congested network, like you're in a public place, like a shopping center or a mall or a coffee shop or something like that, and you have an access point, What happens is the router will send information to the access point. The access point will get overloaded, and that access point will have all these packets, and it'll be trying to distribute them, but it can't distribute them fast enough because there's a ton of traffic. What this does is essentially speed up that process. That's what it's doing. It's not exactly improving the overall speed of the network. It's just making the access points a lot more efficient. And it's some firmware you install on your access point, and that's all it really is. So it's pretty interesting because it's going to make public networks that rely on access points quite a bit faster, but it's not going to make like your home routers 700% faster. That's not going to happen.
For me, the proof's in the pudding, and I want to play with it.
Yeah, see what it's like. You've got a lot of access points around here.
We could test it. I mean,
yeah, I mean, do you have high enough traffic? Most everybody's on wired around here.
We could simulate it.
Yeah, get everybody going crazy at the same time. Now, this is interesting. Let's talk about science, shall we? We finally have macroscopic teleportation, and this is the first step to the Ansible.
Oh, yes. Well, not exactly, but sort of, kind of.
Well, the basic Ansible. I mean, just being able to transmit information, and only information from point A to point B. And this works based on entanglement. And what they've done before is they've been able to, transmit information using a photon. But now they've actually been able to transmit information using a group of electrons together. Or no, was it a group of atoms? Yeah, a group of atoms. So, and it's only lasts about 100 milliseconds, but it's, God, I'm going to get into this and it's going to be confusing. But here's what they did. They teleported quantum information from an ensemble of rubidium atoms to another ensemble of rubidium atoms over a distance of 150 meters using entangled photons. So what they're trying to do here is they're trying to develop a quantum router, and then we'll have the quantum internet. And this is on MIT. The ending of the article says the quantum internet is just around the corner. It's going to put Google Fiber out of business. But I don't know if we're really that close to it.
Yeah, there's some laws of physics and causality there that we've got to worry about. It'll still be probably classically limited. Like, you're not going to be faster than the speed of light. But faster than the speed of light would still be a pretty significant improvement because it would be fast as the speed of light from point A to point B.
With all the information, yeah.
Yeah, whatever that shortest point happens to be. Through the Earth? No problem.
Yeah.
So,
done.
Might be interesting, might be neat. We need a more technical article on this to really make sense of it.
Yeah, this is on MIT, and it's not that technical. I mean...
And we think maybe they got some of the details wrong there, because we shouldn't be that close to an Ansible, but maybe we are.
Let's talk about games. They're making a Deus Ex movie. Have you heard about the Deus Ex movie?
I have not.
Well, they're making a movie, and they announced it a while back, but it's going to be based on the events during Human Revolution with Adam Jensen and all that stuff. It's not going to be based on the really awesome video game from back in the day, Part 1. That's, in my opinion, still the best plot and still the best game ever made, but they're making it based on the new one. And I wanted to mention it because they have now chosen a director. They're going to be using Scott Derrickson. He directed Sinister and The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which were, I don't know, everyone said, some people tell me they're silly movies, but I heard they had pretty good cinematography. I have not seen them myself because I don't watch a lot of movies. So there you guys have it. Gabe Newell's in the Hall of Fame in the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences.
It's about time.
Yeah, he's been inducted. Look at him. You know, he did mention something about Source Engine, too, in the last week or so.
Yeah.
In an impromptu interview in a hallway or whatever, at just him hanging out with him, people were shouting back and forth in the room, and that's pretty cool. It's a totally new engine.
Source Engine 2 for Half-Life 3?
Well, that's what he said. They were like, well, when can we see these? He goes, well, we're really waiting on a flagship game to launch with it. Huh. And then someone mentioned Ricochet 2, I think, which has kind of been an inside joke for a long time. And whenever someone's talking about, like, Half-Life 3, they're always like, so how's Ricochet 2 coming along? So who knows? I mean, there's so many ridiculous rumors about Half-Life 3, and it's like, whenever someone coughs and it's like Half-Life 3, it's like everyone on the internet won't shut up, and every blog gets posted on the top of Reddit. It's like, oh my God, Half-Life 3 will be out tomorrow. No, it will not. Shut up. It will not. Until Gabe comes out and says, hey, Half-Life 3 is done. It'll be out Tuesday. When he actually says that with his mouth and not someone else's mouth saying that he might have said something, then I'll believe it. But until then, nah.
I have a lot of respect for Gabe because the expectation now is that Half-Life 3 will be so amazing that it'll make you waffles. And he's like, we don't have anything that'll live up to that. So they're not doing it. Mannequins.
Oh, yeah. You guys better check out epicpants.com. We've got t-shirts and posters. And there's no helmets yet.
Or pants.
No pants, no. Because the best pants are no pants.
And that's what's epic. That's the joke? Is that the joke?
I don't know if that's the joke or not. I think it is the joke, yeah.
Turns out that Epic Pants was one of the few 2-word domain names left. Is that it? No.
Yeah, there's only like 4 left. I've got Epic Pants. I also registered Power Crotch that same day. I was drunk.
I wish that we were rich because we actually could get Clown Penis Stop Fart.
That's a good way to end. Everything, my life, too. See you guys next time.